Rain poured over the empty schoolyard, blurring the world into a watercolor of gray and silver. Mr. Ethan Hayes was packing his worn leather satchel, ready to head home after another long day of teaching. His shoes were damp, his jacket threadbare, and the last of his paycheck had already gone to paying his mother's medical bills. Just as he turned off the classroom lights, he heard a soft sob echoing from the hallway. At first he thought it was the rain, but then he heard it again, a child's cry. He followed the sound and found a little girl sitting on the floor beside the lockers, her tiny hands clutching a torn drawing. Her backpack had spilled open, colored pencils scattered across the tiles. "Hey there," Ethan said gently, kneeling beside her. "What's wrong?" The girl sniffled, her pigtails damp with rain. I missed my bus. Daddy was supposed to pick me up, but he didn't come." Ethan frowned. The building was nearly empty. "What's your name?" "Lily," she whispered, looking up at him with big blue eyes that shimmered with tears. "Well, Lily," Ethan smiled softly, "how about we wait together until your dad gets here?" She nodded. As they sat on the hallway bench, Ethan noticed the drawing she was holding, a picture of a man, a woman, and a little girl. But the woman's face had been crossed out. "That's your family?" he asked softly. She nodded again. "That's my mommy. She's in heaven now." Ethan's chest tightened. He'd lost his own father years ago. He knew that hollow ache. "I'm sorry, Lily. That must be really hard." She looked at him curiously. "Do you miss someone too?" He chuckled weakly. "Every day," he said, thinking of his father and the dream he never got to fulfill, becoming a writer. But dreams didn't pay the bills, and teaching was the only thing keeping food on the table. The minutes stretched into an hour. No one came for Lily. Ethan tried calling the number on her school file, but no answer. He finally decided to walk her home under his umbrella, hoping her father was just caught in traffic. When they reached her house, a massive mansion hidden behind iron gates, Ethan froze. It was the kind of place that belonged in magazines, not in the life of a broke schoolteacher. "This is your house?" he asked in disbelief. She nodded shyly. "Daddy's busy a lot. He says work is important." The gates opened automatically, and a man in a dark suit rushed out, his expression pale and panicked. "Lily!" he shouted, running toward them. The man looked exhausted, like someone who hadn't slept in days. His tie was loose, his eyes hollow, but when he saw his daughter, they lit up with relief. "I'm so sorry," he said, scooping Lily into his arms. "I was on a call with the board. I didn't realize the time." Ethan stepped back awkwardly. "She was still at school, sir. I didn't want her to be alone." The man turned to him. "Thank you." He stopped, glancing at Ethan's damp clothes, the patches on his sleeves, and the calm sincerity in his eyes. "I'm Daniel Cole." The name struck a bell. Cole Industries, one of the biggest tech companies in the city. Ethan was standing in front of a billionaire. Daniel's voice softened. "Please come in. At least let me get you dry." Ethan hesitated, but finally followed them inside. The mansion was warm, filled with the faint smell of lavender and something lonely. Pictures of Daniel, Lily, and a smiling woman lined the walls. Daniel noticed his glance. "Her wife passed away last year," he said quietly. "Since then, I've been trying to hold things together for Lily." Ethan nodded. "She misses her mother a lot." Daniel sighed. "I know. I've buried myself in work because it is easier than facing what's missing." Lily, sitting by the fireplace, was showing Ethan her art supplies. "Mr. Hayes, look. My crayons don't break when I draw hard." She giggled. Ethan smiled. For the first time, Daniel saw his daughter laugh again, a sound he hadn't heard in months. Over the next few weeks, Daniel found excuses to visit the school. He'd drop Lily off early, or pick her up himself. Each time he'd linger near the classroom, watching as Ethan encouraged students who struggled, often paying for their supplies out of his own pocket. One afternoon, Daniel approached him. "You care a lot about these kids," he said. Ethan shrugged. "Someone has to. Some of them go home to empty houses." Daniel looked away, like Lily. They both knew the truth in that silence. When the school announced it might close due to budget cuts, Ethan was crushed. It was more than just a job, it was his purpose. But Daniel saw an opportunity. He called Ethan to his office one evening. "I've been thinking," Daniel began. "You once told me teaching was your passion. What if I told you I could help keep this school open?" Ethan blinked. Sir, that's generous, but Daniel raised a hand.
Not charity.
Partnership. I want to create a foundation for children who've lost a parent. Lily and I will fund it, and I want you to run it. Ethan's throat tightened. Me. You reminded me what matters, Daniel said quietly. You gave my daughter back her smile. Ethan couldn't hold back the emotion that welled in his chest. I just did what any teacher should do. Daniel shook his head. No, you did what a good man does. Months later, the school reopened with new books, fresh paint, and a plaque by the gate. The Hope Foundation for every child who still believes. Lily stood between the two men, holding their hands. Her drawing, the one that had once shown an empty space where her mother was now, had 3 figures. Daddy, Mr. Hayes, she said proudly, showing them the picture. We're a family now, right? Daniel smiled through misty eyes. Yes, sweetheart. We are. Ethan looked at them both, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. He had lost so much in life. But that night in the rain, when he stopped to help a crying little girl, he didn't just change her life. He found his own healing, too. Message: sometimes the smallest act of kindness can mend the deepest wounds and bring together hearts that were never meant to be apart.